afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Bankable Advice panel. When I was first asked to moderate this panel, I was wondering, oh my God, bankable advice. It's going to be the most boring panel because nobody wants to listen to banking advice, even though we've got 3 bankers here and myself, ex-bankers. So we've decided that we're going to focus the panel to talk really more about personal experiences from each one of these amazing panelists about financial independence, okay, and some interesting topics related to that. Is somebody I think needs no introduction because she's really well known here in Thailand, Kun Kattiya, Indaravijaya. And Kun Kattiya is such a well-known banker with K-Bank. Her career spans 32 years in the bank. And more recently, if you guys missed the announcement, she will be the first female non-family CEO of K-Bank, but next year. So congratulations to Kun Kattiya. Next to Kun Kattiya is Kun Niramarn, who is a professional banker as well. She comes from Bangkok Bank and is the Senior Executive Vice President of the Corporate Banking Division at Bangkok Bank. And finally, next to me, Tracy, who when I first looked at her bio, was a 5-time national squash champion for Singapore. During your younger days, I guess. But after that, she made the switch to be a career in banking that spanned 35 years, and currently she's the vice chair for UBS Wealth Management for Asia. So incredible panelists. So let me just kick off maybe with the first question to Kun Kattiya. To maybe at least let's define what financial independence is, because I think we all make some assumptions. So Kun Kattiya, can you give us your view?
Financial independence should not be just about have lots of money, but it should be about the ability to live the life that we want, and also the freedom to chase our dream. And I also want to add the idea of our king, our beloved king, Rama IX, is the sufficiency economy, which are moderation, reasonableness, and self-immunity. Means that you can buy luxury goods as long as you have enough money and don't put too much pressure to your wallet, to yourself, and to the others. And you also should have a cushion to cover for your financial crisis that may come up from economy crisis, family crisis, or accident, or the health of your loved ones. So that's how I define financial independence.
Great, thank you. Kun Niramarn, you want to add to that?
Yeah. In my personal view, I think that basically being financially independent means many things to many people. So one can interpret something and the other will interpret the others. But I think that being financial independence means the abilities for yourself to be able to make the decisions by your own to do anything that you would like to do. And the second thing is the achievements that you can do to be able to live for the entire life that you have without reliance on other people. And before coming into financial independence, I think that it's very important that you should be able to have sufficient incomes that you can earn, and then you should be able to, like Kun Kattiya just mentioned, that you have to be able to spend something for yourself, and then it means that you have to capture some monies in your deposits account to live for your life in the future, and should be able to support others. So I think that this is the definition that I think that it should be for being financially independent.
Okay, so having enough money to do whatever you'd like. I hear so many young women feel that perhaps just finding a good husband is a good financial plan rather than, doing what you've done. Maybe let's turn over to Tracy. I mean, marrying a man, is that a good financial plan?
Does he have 38 billion to give me?
Yeah,
Or a
okay, if you're
billion.
Jeff Bezos, maybe.
Is definitely an option. Here's what I would say in addition to what the ladies have said. I like to try and kind of think about it in a much simpler way. I would say to you, think of 3 buckets. Think of a liquidity, a longevity, and a legacy. And it really depends on where you are in your life. If you were young and starting out, your legacy bucket is probably 0 at this point. But I know there are many very privileged and wonderful women with great hearts. I think your legacy bucket is probably pretty big, right? So think about the 3 buckets. And I would say liquidity is where you think about your daily, your immediate needs, what you need to spend on. Your longevity is really what you need to provide for yourself in the next 4, 10 years. And legacy is what you want to be remembered for. Think about some statistics that I'm going to share. Women are going to live longer than men. So the reality is we are all probably going to be alone at some point in our lives, whether we're going to be widowed or maybe divorced because, everyone is getting more independent. We are actually highly versed at managing our day-to-day expenses, right? We take care of the house, we know what to do. Many of us don't actually plan for the future when we are going to be alone. And to me, I think that's really important. Now, you may say, I'm young, I'm starting out, and therefore the first 2 buckets are probably more important. Saving, whether it's insurance that I need to take care of. Here's what I think you want to think about, the 5 questions. What matters in life for me? Who are the people that I need to take care of that matters? What are my concerns? What's my purpose and legacy? What's my plan for my life vision? I think when you think about these 5 questions, you think about where you want to put your money in those 3 buckets. And you would be really reviewing these questions throughout your life because it's going to change. You will probably start saving first before you can think about ever investing and be so fortunate to give away. But women do have a different perspective, I believe. We have a heart and we think about being impactful. We think about sustainability. So think about the 3 buckets and think about these questions that I put out, and your 3 buckets are going to move and are going to change. Marrying a man is good. I would say to you, if you marry someone who's a good financial plan, make sure you are a partner with him so that he's not just putting fish on the table, because one day you could be alone. Make sure you know what you get yourself into and truly be a partner so that you'll be able to fish when he's not around.
That's great. Thank you. What a courageous answer. So let me flip it the other way around. What if a man is trying to make you his financial plan? Any courageous person want to take that answer?
I drew the short straw only because so I'm the single income person and I work. My husband is actually the house husband. We have 3 children. We were both bankers during the Asian financial crisis. When he lost his job, we both decided that he should stay at home and look after the kids, and I continued with my career. We explained to our children, they were very happy that actually at the end of the day there was a caregiver at home to look after them. And the rest is history. So it is possible.
Okay, great. I'm also interested maybe to hear from Kun Kattiya about tensions that potentially could exist you're obviously a very successful career person. We talk about honesty and we talk about sort of that whole supporting relationship. How do you try to balance all of that? You've got a son, you've got a husband, you've got a successful career. Just talk a little bit about that.
Um, continue to the question previously also.
Yes.
I believe that women married because of love. Before you enter the next stage, which is the marriage, is important one. You have to have same understanding. To my case, I think my husband is more financial plan than me when we get married. But we have to have a same understanding. Like I told my husband that, whatever I spend, whatever I earn, I spend. And no question asked.
I love the saying, whatever is yours is mine, whatever is mine is mine. Is that how you want
Yeah, but we have to have some together, one financial planning, for our son, something like that. And it is very difficult to find the time, quality time together. So I've been the mentor for a lot of young students. They ask about the work-life balance. I'm not so sure that we will get that, but you can do the work-life integration. So you have to do the activity together. Fine, it's difficult, but it's okay if you have your son as a center of the designing of the life integration. For example, like my son plays squash, and then he go for swimming. I play squash. After, when he plays swimming, my husband exercise. So we do same activity together. So it's kind of work-life integration. That's the best we can do. But before you enter this important relationship, you have to have same understanding. You have to talk. You have to agree on something. For example, like my spending. Yeah.
You have to get an approval for your spending?
No.
Okay.
No. At first, I thought I have to, hide my credit card slip or something, but no.
Okay.
No.
So, Kun Niramarn, do you see, what, from your perspective, you're with Bangkok Bank, how do we make women more financially independent? What are the big changes that we should be seeing?
I think that we have to start with the mindsets. I think that in the past, especially the Chinese in Thailand, I think that everyone knows that in the Chinese families, normally you're gonna treat the woman different from the boys in the past, and then the woman normally have to depend on the families, and after getting married, they were gonna depend on their husbands. But I think that the mindset has been changed after. I think that the career opportunities has been open for the women today, and then I think woman herself should be able to have the ambitions to be able to achieve their own goal, and then they cannot live for the families only. So I found some people in my staff that they would like to quit or give up her work or careers because she thinks that the family is much more better or importance there in comparing to their career path, in which she is very good, but she said that she cannot, she have to live like that she have to quit her career and then stay at home and taking care of her family. It's fine, but I think that for the independence, financial, she will gonna have to depend on her husband or her families. So I think this is something that maybe you have to change the mindset first. And the second thing is important is the disciplines. I think that you have to have the disciplines in spending the monies. The cash inflows that you have should be greater than the outflow that you have. So no matter what lifespan that you are in, you are just a junior officer or you are the very big executive. I think that Kattiya can do, but I think that the remaining people like myself also, that I am single also. So it will be very difficult if you didn't plan yourself in terms of your financial, and then finally you should be able to have the financial abilities also in terms of the knowledge of investment. to do the saving, or sometimes you have to put it in your mutual funds and in terms of the stocks to make sure that you have enough wealthy in the future after your retirement.
I think all of that's really good advice, provided that women are being paid sufficiently well. And I was just doing some research, and it was quite shocking that banks have the biggest gender gap when it comes to income equality. Okay, I know I was at Standard Chartered, but this is public knowledge. So I'm not, trying to call out HSBC, but it says HSBC has 61% income gap. In Switzerland, their banks there is 24%. Westpac, New Zealand, 30%. Now, maybe Thailand is 0, I don't know. But, how do women, get the courage to have those difficult discussions when they don't believe they're being paid well or paid enough? So maybe we get the bankers to tell us, because the banking statistics are not very good.
Okay, maybe it's different in Thailand. It's different in Thailand because I think it's equal, it's square in Thailand. Why? Because I'm the one who look at all the numbers, So I make sure that everyone got evaluate and got reward for their performance and their contribution or their potential equally. Yeah. So, but at the backstage, you asked me this question, so I've been thinking. So I think if that's the case, I think we need to ask for the transparency of the evaluation, to understand, and ask for the coaching, the feedback session that, how can you continue to improve yourself to meet the standard. And, that's for the company. For yourself, I think we have to find our own strength, which is different from one to one, and use that wisely, or pick the area, the work that be able to utilize your strength effectively. So that's the thing. For K-Bank, I believe it's the same for Bangkok Bank also. Statistically, a little statistic, at the top management level, we have 30% women. And at the middle management level is 50%. And for the entire organization, the entire group is 70% women. And so if you want to ask about how do we get high pay, I think it's the same, men and women. Some get high pay, some get low pay. But the question is, how do you get high pay? So in the leading and the high performance organization, I believe, I'm confident that their rewarding and compensation must be more on the performance. So how can you get that? If you perform well, work hard, work smart, and keep updating yourself through the continuous learning, I believe you can get that. But if it's not, you ask for the transparency, ask for the coaching and feedback in the positive way, and then improve yourself, find your strength, find the area that you'll be able to utilize your strength.
Right. So that would be the same answer, because you say 30% at the top, but 70% at the bottom. Why not the reverse? So probably the same strategy to be used, continuous learning. And transparency and things like that. Thank you. Our time is up, but before we go, I'd like each one of these panelists to give sort of, a word of advice to the next generation. Some of you have, sons, some have daughters, some have nieces and nephews. So if you can just give one quick tagline to each one of, pick whoever you'd like and just say, I'm actually going to be giving this advice to my son or my daughter, my niece or nephew, what would it be?
Invest in yourself. invest in yourself, meaning that, keep updating yourself, improving yourself from continuous learning. Have a clear vision of your future. Find your best version of yourself and take action towards it every day. And be strong to stand up for what you believe. And also smart enough to know that when that you need help. And also brave enough to ask for help. And help each other. Please help each other.
Thank you.
So for me, I think that I would like to talk about the ways that the people has to live in. I think that they need the financial in the futures. So I think it takes time to build the financial for everyone. So I think that everyone have to start thinking about this today, and then you should have the adequate financial in terms of to live in your entire life. So it means that you have to start today how to do your savings, and then make sure that you could be able to have a really good life in the futures after you retire also. So this is very important for everyone, that you have to prepare yourself. You cannot depend on others in terms of the financial. Depend on yourself, and you could be able to live a very good life, and then I think that you can be able to help others also. So if you cannot help yourself, you cannot help others. So I think this is important.
So when I listen to all the words of wisdom from my three wonderful ladies next to me, I can only sum it up in one tagline, which is own your worth and go for it.
Fantastic, thank you. And for me, don't be a NATO, no action, talk only person. Be the change that you want to see. And in our case, let's all be dragonflies together. Thank you very much.